Let's talk about relationships. Relationships are the glue that holds our society together. Now, you've got relationships at work, you've got relationships with your family, you've got relationships with your bosses, relationships with your subordinates. I want to give you what I think works. Several years ago, I was going through a CPR course. And y'all have been through CPR, okay. If you're in the constant recertification cycle, you realize that each year they've changed something, right? They're improving the process. Well, I went through this class and I sat there for a minute and I thought, my gosh, is it 15 and 2 or 5 and 1 or 8 and 20? I just can't keep track of it. And I remembered back to when I was in college, and one summer I drove an ambulance in a town in East Texas. And we didn't have an awful lot of CPR training. In fact, most of what I got that year, I had learned off the old Ben Casey TV show. But that summer, I saved 17 people's lives because we were back to basics. The process of CPR is to get oxygen into the lungs and pump the heart so that the blood circulates. Even if you do it perfectly, you've only got about a 25–26% chance that you'll be able to save the person's life. But what I determined as I was going through that CPR course is, you know what? There's too many different rules. And most of them are not really dealing with the essential aspects of that particular process. So I started changing. And I started building my relationships the same way and having the same types of processes regardless of who I was dealing with. My boss or my subordinate, my kids, my wife, my friends, all of them can expect the same thing from me. Makes it a whole lot easier. We have to understand the basic essential aspects of why we're having a relationship and what is it. Now, there's a George Strait song that I like, and it starts off, "Well, excuse me, but I think you've got my chair." Now you know why I didn't go into country music. The aspect of that song is this gentleman is approaching this young lady and they're having dialogue because she was inadvertently sitting in his chair. The evening goes well and she actually gets up to leave with him. And the last line in the song was, "Well, you know, that really wasn't my chair after all." Which means that I have built this relationship and I've just shown you that I'm a liar. There's another aspect of this, knowing who you are and being who you are. Richard Bach in the book Illusions talks about like attracting like and being a firefly. You sat out on the porch lately in the summer and you watch, and if you're real lucky and you're in a semi-rural area, long about dusk, you'll see a firefly shining his light. And then in a little while, you'll see a second one, and then a third one, and then 4 or 5. Now they're not out there going, "Hey Bill, I'm over here." They're just shining that little light. And the other firefly sees them and comes to them. Humans don't have light. So we try to shine the way that somebody thinks they want us to shine, or even worse, the way that we think you want me to shine, without ever bothering to find out who we really are. Now, what I've learned, again in the same process, is that if you figure out who you are and you just be that, a very strange thing happens. Another firefly will come to you because like attracts like. Doesn't mean there's not going to be conflict. You're dealing with people, and no two people ever see the same thing exactly the same way. But if you are a healthy personality, don't pick an unhealthy personality to have a relationship with.